Okay, phone memories issue sorted. So we're going to part 11, techniques of how I did what I did. Some of the strategies I employed. You've heard me say hacking my brain in my previous videos. So this is what I mean by hacking my brain. There was a long video I've recorded many months ago. It's a 10-minute video. I'll tag it in the comments. It's when I first, in the second hospital, for about 2-3 months, while I was trying to move my right arm, at the same time, I totally brainwashed myself. I completely brainwashed myself. The only two options I gave myself was to walk out of the next hospital or to be carried out in a box. So yeah, I was, I was gonna do it or I was gonna die. It's do or die. So I, I did that in hospital, and then since I left hospital, I haven't been able to recreate that scenario until 28th of January last year. I had to go to. I had something wrong with my legs because I had blood clots in my legs before. I felt really heavy, and it was a Friday, and I tried to get an ultrasound, and because it was past 5 p.m. and everything was shut, they said go to the emergency room. So I went to the emergency room, and I was there for 7 hours, and I absolutely lost my mind. I could not, I was literally losing my mind. I couldn't take it. And then when I left there, I was really, really confused because I spent 313 days in the hospital without any issues. And then I was losing my mind over a 7 hour stay in hospital. And then it finally, I finally woken up. I knew what the reason was. The reason was the first time in hospital, 313 days, I had no choice. I couldn't come home. I was still getting lifted by hoist. I was in an adult diaper. There's no way my 70-year-old parents could deal with that. So I had I couldn't come home if I wanted to. And the second the 7 hour stay, I could ring my mom, say, please pick me up, and I'm out of there. I didn't have to stay. That was what it came down to. It was a choice. I had a choice to leave at any time. The time I was in there for 7 hours, and the first time for 313 days, 10 and a half months, I had no choice to leave. I didn't have a choice. So, like I said, in hospital, the first time I did it, in the second hospital, I hacked my brain. I brainwashed myself to walk out of the next hospital or be carried out in a box. Those are my only two options. I said it to myself every night, really hardcore. Not brainwash like it was brainwash, crazy brainwash. Just all night while I was trying to move my arm, walk out of the next hospital or die in there. That was it. That was my only choice, and I eventually walked out. So the second time around, after January 28, when I went to the hospital for 7 hours, I started implementing, figuring out how I could recreate the situation in hospital again, give myself no choice. And I finally thought about it. I think it was a couple of weeks after. So I've got two carers. One has been with me for over 4 years. Now in Australia, we've got great service, government provided carers, which is great. I know you guys don't have in the US, but don't worry about things like that. But they are so hard to find. It is so bloody hard to find a carer. And what I did, once again, I burnt the bridges. No plan B. At the same time, I told both of them. So I was born in the Tiger Year, Chinese New Year Tiger Year. And last year was Chinese New Year Tiger Year. And it ended in January 21st, 22nd this year. So last year, maybe around March, somewhere around March, I told both my carers, I told them if I'm not walking by end of Chinese New Year, which is January 22 this year, I said, leave me. I said, leave my service. Just don't come back. And I know these people. Well, one's been with me for 4 years. We're very close. But for me, she would have let me. She would have just said, get lost, you can't walk, I'm leaving you. Like I told her to do. I asked her, if I'm not walking by January 22nd, end of Chinese New Year, leave me. So this is me recreating the situation I had in hospital. I burnt my bridges. I did a no plan B on myself. So these are advanced techniques. You have to really adjust it to your own situation. It's, and I said in my last video, I've done a lot of these things before. I have to say that, so from Pi 11 onwards, it'll be techniques and with backstories. It's about how I learned these techniques. And I've done this before in my life. That's why you guys heard it. I've only done a few videos, but you've heard it before. When it happened to me at age 41, it felt like everything in my life has just been preparing me for this day. Like I said, I've burnt my bridges before, quite a few times in my life, to give myself no option but to succeed. Now, the previous video I recorded was 10 minutes. And then I saw a TikTok, and the guy explained it in 30 seconds. I go, what the hell? I'll play that next, so you can see.
You know who has a plan B? Motherfuckers that lose. That's a fact, okay? Every single person that wins big, every single person that you look at, every single person that you're inspired by, every single person that you aspire to be like, they only have one motherfucking plan, and that is they are gonna win or they are gonna die fucking trying.
So that video was no plan B. It's the same as I prefer burn your bridges, but it's the same idea. It's giving yourself no option but to succeed. And that's why that's why I did in hospital, and that's why I did last year. When I told both my carers, if I don't walk by Chinese New Year, leave me. And I knew I didn't want them to go, but it was my way of giving myself no option, Like, especially Masuma, she's been with me for over 4 years through some hard times. And I knew she was going to make sure I succeeded, because I really did not want her to go, But I knew by doing that, by putting all my chips in, I was going to force myself like crazy. And I'll show you my calendar, what I wrote. So I told you in the last video, I think, I walked every single day for over a year. And that was because I implemented my plan. No plan B, burn your bridges. Last year. And I did it. We had the most brutal winter last year. It's cold as fuck. I put 3 hoodies on, a beanie, and I fucking wore gloves in the house to walk. I couldn't switch the heater on because I had to walk through the hallway, and the room is just too big to heat up. So, if I didn't do that, I would just stayed in bed. I would just say, fuck this. I'm not getting out of bed. It's cold as fuck. But because I did that, I forced myself. The coldest days, I got out of bed and I walked. So you gotta find, everyone has a different situation. So find something that hurts, and then like you either succeed this task or you're gonna lose that. Just try to figure it out, and if you don't know, come talk to me. We'll discuss how you can do it, and then you can try to implement this tactic.